Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome back to iRacing, where today we've got a classic combination of Formula 4 cars at Spa. High speed, high risk and bags of action. If you do find yourself enjoying the video today, please do remember to leave a like and get subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the sim racing we've got coming up. But for now, we're on the grid, we're starting in 11th place of a 1.8k split, so very competitive here. The red lights are on, we're waiting to go green. And we are underway. We get a decent start off the line, but so does everybody else around us. There are a number of cars starting from pit lane because these opening corners, in fact this whole opening lap, is going to be treacherous. We've got to pick our braking and our acceleration points very carefully here because the track is extremely busy. And in fact, I've got two cars on my outside here. We're three wide as we barrel down the hill and get ready for Eau Rouge and Radion on lap one. A little bit of contact. I think there's only now one car alongside me. We're going to go in side by side to Eau Rouge. This is maximum danger here. As we climb the hill, we get a big tag from behind. I just about keep hold of the car and now rejoin the track. And then unbelievably, the car ahead slowing down. We very nearly run straight into the back of him. Echoes there of Hamilton and Verstappen last season in Saudi Arabia, and there was a big shunt behind me as well. If you saw that in the rear view mirror, we'll take a look back at all of that, but I think somehow we've gotten through with only minimum damage. There's another car off on the infield there as we lost two positions heading into Lecumbe, and another slow car on our right hand side, so we've gained those two positions back straight away as we head now down towards the hairpin. Big puff of smoke up ahead, two more cars in the gravel. It's absolutely chaotic here at Spa on this opening lap. Unbelievable action, and where we just about managed to survive Eau Rouge and Radion, lots of other drivers not being so fortunate and finding themselves in the gravel or in the wall and presumably requiring lots of repairs. We come through Pouan for the first time then. I've no idea where we're running in the field. I imagine we may very well somehow be still in or around 10th to 12th place, but we're up ahead of us. We've got Lopez in the purple liveried car, and we're going to try and bring ourselves right up onto his rear wing towards the end of this lap because it looks to me as if he's slightly struggling with the car. Perhaps he was involved in some of that contact in the opening corner and down to Eau Rouge. We'll find out as we come round onto the back straight here then. Are we able to get into his draft, tuck underneath his rear wing and make a move towards the end of this first lap and get another position in the bag? We are closing in dramatically here, but perhaps just at the wrong part of the track. I'm going to have to get out of it. You can't go side by side through this next corner. You'll definitely end up in a collision, but can we carry momentum now down into the chicane at the end of the lap? We're alongside. We're going to try and get later on the brakes. We are later on the brakes, but we've locked up and we've gone in too deep, and I'm going to have to be very careful rejoining the track here. We bump over the curb. We just about managed to not take Lopez out on that rejoin, and we have to settle in behind him then at the end of that opening lap. It looks like we are down. No, we're up into 8th position. Unbelievable. Right, let's take stock of how exactly we've managed that then and take a look back at the race start. We're in from the helicopter cam here. You can see us coming into the inside. Oh, and look at that, a real bunching together of the field. There are bits of contact here and there, but nothing too serious. On our outside then, we've got Ordonez and then Lopez in the purple livery car. We're three wide coming down the hill. There's a little bit of contact between Ordonez and Lopez. That takes Lopez out of the picture for now, but I guess it's going to be Ordonez that we come together with then. And yes, you can see taking a big risk going side by side with one another. And I guess then Ordonez gets a slowdown penalty, which he tries to spend off the racing line, but that causes chaos as we are all taken by surprise at a slowing car, and we're 3 or 4 cars wide in any case, and then there's big contact behind. Let's take another look at that run through Eau Rouge and you'll see the contact between the two of us. I'm not sure that either of us necessarily did anything wrong. It's just very difficult to keep the throttle pinned side by side on lap 1. Perhaps I should have been slightly less bold in going through the corner side by side. And then here's the concertina of Ordonez trying to spend that penalty, and it's Gill in the yellow and red car that ends up coming to grief. This is it from his point of view then. You'll see he does very well to just feather the throttle as he sees action up ahead and trying to stay safe, but then surprised as we are by the slowing car, he takes to the outside and then there's just a bit of contact and it's him who is pitched into the barrier, and that is his race ruined. Unfortunate there for him, but then up ahead there was this gaggle of cars all fighting for position into Lecumbe, and there's a litany of accidents here. Amore in the red car up ahead overshoots the corner. You've got Capruzzi beached on the inside, and then Grad squeezes Resniak and they come together. Here's then an onboard looking at all of that play out. As you can see, the cars off to the left hand side rejoining, and then this is just the squeeze from Grad, and that's why he gets taken out. Resniak can't disappear, and unfortunately the two come together. And then again at the hairpin you've got Abrantes taking out Amore, so he survived running deep into Lecumbe. He did not survive down into the hairpin. And then here is myself closing in on the back of Lopez into the bus stop chicane for the first time. We get later on the brakes, but we just have a little lock up. I can't get the car slowed down, and unfortunately we have to take to the runoff area, and then just about manage to rejoin without collecting Lopez. A breathless opening lap then. Somehow we're up into the top 10, and we rejoined here at the end of the second lap, and I'm still closing in on the rear wing of Lopez up ahead. The question is then, can we squeeze onto the rear wing once again, time our move a little bit better this time into the chicane and not outbrake ourselves into the corner? You can see the closing speed is massive. Lopez must be carrying damage here, and even if we are from those early race contacts, it's clearly not as significant as Lopez, but we're just not going to be close enough down into the chicane this time, so I'm going to think better of it. Perhaps look ahead to a move on the Kemmel Straight on the next lap, but there's been an incident up ahead. That looks like Spencer rejoining there in the Leighton House livery car on the right hand side. Lopez has managed to find a way past as Spencer is getting back up to speed, but we are going to have to tuck in just behind him. And there's another yellow flag out as we come into the opening corner of the third lap of this race. Barreling down the hill then, this is going to get very tight between the three of us, I think. Surely Spencer, unless he has now picked up damage, will be right on the rear wing of Lopez immediately, who is clearly down on speed. We're through Eau Rouge then, keep the pedal floored through the corner as we snake up the hill, and yes, Spencer making his move now then as we come along the back straight. He's disappeared because of an internet connection issue. He's now back on track, and we're able to just get into his draft and follow him past Lopez. This has worked out very well for me here because I'm getting an additional speed advantage through the draft. I'm not going to be close enough to Spencer though to chuck one down the inside of Lecumbe. Cover that off very, very nicely there, so I'm just going to have to settle in behind him, but that is us up into 7th position then at the beginning of lap 3. Can I then put some pressure on Spencer and get into the top 6? That's the challenge now. There's not been a moment to breathe through this race. It is all action here at Spa, and it's only really when you drive this circuit in a Formula car do you get a sense of just how high speed it is. I've tended to drive here most recently in the GT3 class, and you're constantly having to coax those cars through these corners. Here, with the addition of downforce and the lightness of these cars, you can really chuck them around as we're coming then right onto the rear wing once again of the car up ahead. We're just trying to hustle him, put a bit of pressure on, try and force a mistake here as we get towards the 3rd sector of this lap. You can see at this point of the race at least we look to have a bit more pace than Spencer, so maybe there'll be an opportunity coming down into the chicane once again, providing I can get my braking right into the corner. He's ran it out slightly wide onto this back straight. We're going to be in his draft. We're just 0.4 seconds behind then. That should close in as we power down the straight here. And yes, look at that, the gap is visibly closing to the car up ahead. We're not going to have to let off through the left-hander here. That means we're going to continue to build our momentum down into the chicane. We are going to look to the inside here at the last moment. We come from a long way back, but we're all the way alongside into the braking zone. We hit the apex, but look at that. Expertly, Spencer just lets the car roll around the outside. He carries more speed through the corner as we were pinched on the apex, and that then allows him to defend the position, and I have to settle back into 7th place as we begin another lap here at Spa. Fantastic racing action, and well, we've now got it all to play for here as I'm going to try and attack and get into this top 6, which would represent a great finish. Let's look back then at just what happened to Spencer to put him back into the mix with us then. He just loses the rear end coming through the chicane. You can see then just lighting up the tyres, and that was enough to send the car around. It didn't look like there was contact, but as we follow the action on then as he rejoins, you can see Lopez gets past him. We're not close enough, so just have to settle in behind, but at the end of the day that has helped me out because I get the benefit of the tow from Spencer. which allows me to clear Lopez, which had been proving to be quite a challenge despite the fact that Lopez was so down on pace compared to me. But here we go then, we watch it from the external camera as Spencer judges it very well coming up through Eau Rouge. That must have been slightly scary as the closing speed was very, very high there to Lopez on the inside. Unfortunately, Spencer momentarily disappears there at a crucial point for me as I'm following him down the Kemmel Straight, but that gives us the tour that we need to get all the way past Lopez into the braking zone, and then it's just about making sure we hit the apex, get the car through the corner, and then I can concentrate on getting up onto the rear wing of Spencer. We're able to do that by the end of the lap. We duck to the inside to make the pass. For a moment I think I'm going to get it done, but ultimately Spencer had the better line through the corner. He carried more speed through the chicane, and that was his defence done, and I just had to settle in behind him to begin another lap of the race. There was fantastic racing going on through the field. This then is the battle between Gruber in red and Schultz for third place, who is chasing him down as we come up the hill and through Radion. These guys have been going at it hammer and tong for a lot of this race here as we follow them down the Kemmel Straight. Lots of space being afforded between the two drivers here as they're racing. Gruber has to come back into the slipstream of Schultz to try and get that move back because he's lost the position through the Kemmel Straight there, but he can't make it happen and has to just settle in behind for the middle sector of this lap. But it wouldn't be long before he was challenging again down the hill into the hairpin. He's going to see if there's a move to be made, but Schultz covers that off on the inside and for now at least is able to hold the position. Fast forward though to the end of the lap, and still Gruber putting Schultz under massive amounts of pressure. They're side by side coming into the bus stop chicane, and in fact Gruber has managed to take the momentum into the corner. He's got the high ground, he's going to have the apex. Schultz has to give that up and try and get a better exit, but as he does, he makes the same mistake as we saw earlier from Spencer, lights up the rear tyres and rotates the car, and unfortunately then has to wait to rejoin and loses some positions as a result. Another stonking battle was going on just behind us for the lower places in the top 10. This then is between Cockrum and Hirabieto, with Cockrum in the Mercedes livery following down the hill here towards Eau Rouge, looking to put pressure on to take the position. They climb the hill then, get ready for Radion, and look at that, you can see in the draft he's got a much better launch off the top of the corner, and he's going to be alongside Izzy down the Kemmel Straight. They're nearly banging tyres. This is really competitive racing between the two of them there. We are just a little way up the road here, so this battle matters for us in terms of whether we're going to have pressure late on in the race. In the end, Cockrum just has to give it up and follow him through the corner, but then there's a big mistake from Hirabieto. They come together, and then there's a third car involved in Thierry Walter. Just gets caught out as the two cars came together. This is Cockrum's onboard view, and he just can't possibly anticipate that the car is going to come spearing across and into him, and that is a big old shunt. What it did mean is that I didn't really have any pressure from behind me because the two of those guys coming together opened up the gap, which then meant that we had some breathing space, and I couldn't really keep pace with Spencer either into the back end of the race. I think ultimately I was carrying damage, even if it wasn't as much as some of the other drivers from those lap 1 collisions. Spencer did not, and was probably just a quicker driver on the day as well, but it meant we were in no man's land for the second half of the race, so not too much to show you as we're now on the final lap, coming through the chicane for the final time. Just going to straighten the car up and get over the line for a great finish in 7th position. Really happy with that, given an 11th place start in a very competitive field. Kept our nose clean just about, and that led to a great finish. And here then is the full classified results. A really enjoyable race. It's a fantastic circuit to drive these cars around. Perilous though, very high speed, very high risk, and we saw that play out on the opening laps in particular as the field was bunched together. So if you do try this combination out for yourself, just try and give it a little bit of margin. Don't copy me and go side by side in Eau Rouge on that opening lap. I got away with it really. It could have been a lot worse. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like, get subscribed, and I will see you on the next one.